This is Jay from OCM Magazine. Today I'm sitting down with Josh from the OCM community. He's the man behind the scenes. If you've ever been on Discord, he does a lot of the posts, he does a lot of the legwork. And in this segment, I really just felt like it was time to shine a spotlight on Josh and all the unsung things that he's done for the community. So welcome, Josh.
Thanks. Yeah, it's good to be here. Good to chat with you.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'm just a little curious and, whatever you're comfortable with telling us about your crypto background and, how did you come into the overall space and then, what led you into NFTs and overall the OCM community?
I got involved in crypto first in around mid to late 2017.
Hmm.
So that was when I bought my first Bitcoin and Ethereum. And around that time, I started to get a little bit involved with collecting different altcoins. So the altcoin landscape at that time, obviously a lot different than it is in today, but some of the themes are similar.
Yeah, the big IPO boom and when tokenization went really wild.
Yeah, exactly. And when like ETH started booming, the ICO craze really took off. So actually around that time I started to get involved in some of the alt communities, and I did get experience doing Discord and Telegram and social media and stuff, and in particular in related to the crypto space through that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I got my background in doing a little bit of the community stuff. And actually around that and through that kind of experience, actually also I worked a little bit with Memesk, who's the GC for MetaGood.
Oh, okay.
We actually knew each other from back before then, coincidentally.
Right on. It's a good connection.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of my early goings around. I mean, I did a little altcoin trading and stuff like that, but I came out of that kind of period of crypto being kind of a maxi, like maybe Bitcoin maxi, but also Ethereum. Like those were kind of the two main like
Pillars or whatever you want to call them.
pillars
Yeah.
that I was
Yeah.
focused on. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I'd say I have a few others, but nothing exciting or a huge percentage by any means.
Yeah, and especially with my like, because I ended up being, I'm not like a huge trader, so I like basically like hold
Hmm.
my crypto. And so
Yeah. I had
if
a
you're buying like
conversation. Sorry, go ahead.
if you're buying like altcoins and stuff, holding over a long period of time is generally not a good not a good
High
move.
risk for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I was having a conversation really about that. And I think that was one of my barriers I needed to break through for understanding NFTs a little broader because I came a little bit from the mining area. So I was good at like building rigs and figuring out good ways to like maximize them and stuff like that. And I enjoyed that part, but I would just dump everything into my ledger. And then I was like, wait, so I have to take this stuff out and use it and do stuff with it and maybe lose some? I'm like, no, 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 that's scary, But I slowly, was able to get over those fears and, that has brought me to here. So, but
yeah,
I definitely get where you're mean. I think I went through a similar thing probably that you went through in 2017 with the ICO craze and just with the big NFT boom. Everybody was searching for the next mint and basically minting anything that came onto the market. And I definitely got swept up in that a little bit. And it definitely reminded me of those days a little.
yeah.
So I'm
Totally.
much
There's
pickier now. And
connections.
yeah, and just focusing on, things with good community, obviously OCM and a few others that it just have the staying power I think that's needed. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So that was kind of my early days, and then like COVID happened,
Mhm.
2020. So the markets kind of really slowed down then. I just like I basically just held my ETH and BTC through all of the through all the pullback.
Yeah.
And then yeah, in 2021 rolls around and that's when NFTs, like I started hearing about NFTs. Obviously there was some NFT stuff going on before then, but
Right. It was more like,
2021.
yeah, it wasn't like projects, a lot of one of ones and just like artist collections. And yeah, it was just kind of figuring out the space mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, so I heard about through this internet forum that actually has like a bunch of, it's kind of like a poker community, or it used to be a poker community.
Mhm.
So we kind of all got into NFTs around I guess it was early 2021, because we all got started on Top Shot basically.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
it was like right. We didn't get in early. We we got in kind of like in the series 2 or whatever,
Mm,
right when stuff was like on its like parabolic move up.
mm.
So we did okay, but
You're
we
trying to
didn't.
grab on, yeah.
Yeah, we did okay. We didn't get like the LeBron Series 1 just for like $10 or whatever. But
Yeah, right.
we did okay, and we did a lot of like trading, and yeah, it was fun. We were always talking about like doing sniping deals and like building our collection, and that
Mm,
was kind of our main exposure into NFTs through Top Shot.
mm,
And then yeah, eventually we started to get into these different other NFT stuff and getting into the ETH NFT game. I was one of the later people to convert over to ETH NFTs, but actually it was Roham's tweet. I don't know if you're familiar with when
mm,
OCM launched. He sent out. I guess Danny called in a favor because Roham's an investor, and he
mm.
asked Roham to send out a tweet about OnChainMonkey,
Okay.
and that came out basically on mint night.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to see what this is. I want to collect some of these. So I was within the community on the first day, but actually I didn't know how to mint an ETH NFT at the time.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to get people to help me figure it out, and
Mm.
I messed something up with the gas. Like I edited something I shouldn't have done, and
Took a
so
zero off or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, and so my transactions like weren't going through, and in the time that it took me to like figure out how to debug where I screwed up, like
Hmm.
the collection minute out.
Hmm.
So unfortunately, I wasn't technically one of the first.
Right.
I wasn't able to actually mint OCM.
Yeah. You had to get off secondary shortly after.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was kind of the same boat. And I actually, yeah, I had a friend that we shared a wallet. So he kind of like handheld me into the market. And then I saw some of the value. And then it was like, okay, well, let's take a couple of these and start our own wallet. So he already had his own. But yeah, I definitely, yeah, feel those fears of early, just gas going into the ether and never getting anything back for it, and just, yeah, failed transactions. It just kind of makes you feel dumb and like, what are you doing? And then you learn more and you're like, oh, I just didn't put a zero in or whatever it happened to be.
yeah. Actually, I think I remember what happened because I was so familiar with Top Shot, like just like
Mhm.
if I wanted to buy something, I would just buy like 10 of them or something because they would
Right.
just be like, and you could just like fire off 10 transactions at once. So
Yeah.
I was doing that on ETH. I just like kept clicking mint and just like kept sending transactions. And
Yeah.
then one
Instead
of
of
my
waiting.
earlier
Yeah.
transactions had like messed up gas or something. So it just like screwed I had like 20
Mhm.
transactions that like none of them could go through. It was a mess.
Yeah. 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 And that's one of those learning scenarios, just like, well, I won't do that again. I've definitely had a few of
Yeah,
those.
exactly.
Very cool. Well, yeah, that's
Yeah, so
awesome.
so then like you mentioned, I did buy in through secondary, and kind of got onto the OCM Discord that day or the next. I think it was the 12th. But yeah, the first monkey I bought was my PFP. So the
Nice.
yeah 9017, and
Awesome.
that's what I've
It's
had
a
as my
beaut.
PFP since then. So
Cool.
pretty attached to it, and yeah, I guess through the like my experience with Top Shot, I was kind of familiar with like sniping, and it was like building my collection and stuff like that. So I kind of
Mm.
employed the same strategy on OCM.
Yeah, you just had to learn different, traits, whereas like basketball, it's like, oh, are they, a good player, good stats, whatever. On the NFT side, more with the PFP collections, you have to look at like what are their traits and, figure out what you want to covet. It's all just percentages and things at the end of the day.
Exactly, yeah. Like finding the rares, figuring out what people are gonna like, and even trying to like anticipate what people would like
I remember the
in
early like
today's time, right?
I remember the
Like
early
flowing
meta was
events.
finding sorry, I just wanted to jump in. The early meta was like finding the matching ones to Board Ape Club, and seeing if you
Yes,
could get those and hold them and kind of like squat on them and see if they would come along and want them.
that's right. Like the Bored Ape cousin,
Yeah, yeah,
finding that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think some of the Bored Ape holders did find their cousins, which was pretty cool. I mean,
look,
obviously as you know, the traits aren't the rarities and stuff map over 1 to 1, but they don't like perfectly
mhm,
align, right? Like there's
right,
not like an alien BA.
right, right. They're similar, but like you said, cousins.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and you don't, I mean, we want to be our own separate thing, but that is interesting today. I don't know if you saw the ape tank. I'm guessing you're aware of it, but yeah, they announced that. So that's cool that there's going to be more involvement in both communities.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we've had a lot of Bored Apes joining our community, since the beginning. But
Mhm.
recently, when we kind of, and Danny inscribed the 10K on Ordinals, we've gotten even more exposure to the Bored Ape Yacht Cup collectors.
For sure. Yeah. Higher end collectors, higher end collection, new technology, that always gets the people like, uh-oh, am I going to FOMO? I got to get over there.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, it's definitely seems like there's been some well thought out plans, and I understand it's fast moving. So, things change, well, probably almost daily, if not faster. So yeah, it's exciting from the outside. I can only imagine on the inside.
Yes, yeah, it's a very fast moving space for sure, but exciting and fun to work in for sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, can you just detail maybe like a few of the major aspects you do within the community on the technical side? I know you help a lot in the Discord. You're always answering questions and things like that. But, for me, I just know you're the go-to guy when we need help. So could you just clarify that for everybody?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So my primary function that I help with is on Discord. A lot of the stuff that I do behind the scenes is related to Discord. Setting up events, I'll put out some kind of announcement messages at times. Setting up the channel structure, so that the channel structure, the way it looks right now, is kind of part of my creation and thought process behind that.
Mhm.
And then some of the stuff that happens behind the scenes that most people aren't aware of is we have like our mod team, and I actually work a lot with helping explore different ways to solve bot problems that we get. Actually, we when we launched on Ordinals, when we minted the 10,000, we
Mhm.
started to get like a ton more eyes on OCM at the time, and people probably don't know this, but we were getting like brigaded by bots.
Wow.
We
Okay.
were getting like bots joining like every like minute or something for a
Yeah.
long time. And so a lot of the work that I was doing during that time was trying to patch up that bot problem we were dealing with. And
Yeah.
so
They had
people in
found a
our community
workaround
can't
around the
get
captcha or
scammed.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's always like staying a leg ahead of the
Mhm.
bots and stuff like that.
It
But
works well for a month or two, and then they figure out something, and you got to change something, and just yeah, the cat and the mouse back and forth.
exactly, yeah. So we're always looking at new ways to solve that, because that is a big problem
Mhm.
in Web3 in particular. All of the like the the scam DMs that you'll get, or like
Yeah.
the fake mints and stuff, and we really take that really seriously. And
Or just
I mean,
somebody coming in and saying something stupid and like creating a ruckus. I mean, even that just, it's a waste of time for the community at the end of the day.
exactly. And yeah, and our community is so great that we really never have that issue with our holders itself, which
Hmm.
helps
There'll be
my
heated
job way
conversation
easier.
from time to time, but usually respectful.
Exactly, yeah. The rise mentality is kind of always in the background there that people are trying to adhere to, which is great.
For sure.
Yeah, and usually when we get new people in the community, they see that right away, and I think that's one of our kind of great selling points that helps attract in new folks to the OCM community.
For sure. I definitely agree. I was actually talking with Ken, my editor at OCM Magazine, about the community, and just in comparison, I mean, it's hands down, top notch. So, thank you for that on the front end, back end, and all the way around.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. So yeah, so that's the Discord, the kind of the community Discord side of things. And internally, things that I will help with is like our messaging. So I'll help give feedback for tweets, or kind of messaging that we're sending out on how to describe our different collections,
Hmm.
how
Like
to
marketing, programming kind of stuff.
yeah, a little bit on that side. How to like yeah, just how to sell the different collections, how to tell our story about the
Yeah.
collections too.
When you coming from, your background that you just described, hey, you have an understanding of, where it was before, where it's going. Obviously, you can't read the future, but you are able to play both sides of the fence a bit because you were on the other side of the fence at one point.
Exactly. Yeah. And because I'm so active on our Discord, I always feel like I have a good pulse of the community. I'm always trying to make things as transparent as possible to the degree that we're able to share things. I mean, some things we just aren't able to share. And
Right.
there's always some frustration that comes from that of people who, like really want this alpha and we just like, oh, we just can't share it at that time. But we're always
Yeah.
trying to find ways to give people the information they want.
It's the cat and mouse game all over again. We're going to ask and you guys got to do your job. We get it. We may not love it. And, some may express it differently than others at times. But at the end of the day, we get, that the community is at the center of all thoughts at the end of the day.
Yeah, and with Ordinals especially too, because we want to be known for being the first to do a lot of this stuff, right? Like we were the first 10K collection. We're doing a lot of firsts with dimensions as well. I think that this is the kind of stuff that attracts collectors over the long run. We talked about the ICO craze and altcoins. A lot of these projects will not be around for 5, 10 years, but with OCM, our staying power is tied into the fact that we're doing these kind of first ofs. We will always be the first 10K on Ordinals. That's locked in, and that's always going
Right.
to attract collectors.
Similar to the things that have been done on the Ethereum blockchain, a lot of first there as well. So it's just carrying on.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was one of the things that attracted me to OCM originally too, and why I kind of built up my collection was because I was like, wow, I mean, you know, these doing these first things is really important because NFTs are here to stay. Ordinals are here to stay. There's going to be millions of collections. Like there's already like millions of ordinals now, and we're only
Yeah.
in it. We've only been in it for like a few
4 months or something now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was
and
like
so
1 million the first 3 months and then like it hit 2 million a month after or something. Yeah. It's been going exponentially for sure.
yeah, these things are just going to keep they're just going to keep going, and there's going to be so many collections out there, and so many people are trying to make their mark that being early and being first to something is a really good selling point, and
Mm.
it shows that your team has a developing savvy to do these like groundbreaking things that no one else has done.
Yeah.
We've
Experimentation.
the
Yeah.
other collections will start doing stuff that we've done for dimensions. I'm sure they'll once they
Right.
find it, they'll try to copy some of that stuff too.
Well,
But
and like new tokens or new, protocols within the token structure have come out and, and NFTs have kind of shifted what the actual token is that comes out on because of gas usage or other availabilities. Or now the big thing is making permission contracts or whatever it may be. There's always new wrinkles coming along that make sense with the market in general. I'm not advocating drinking Coca-Cola, but when you buy a can of Coke, it doesn't have the secret recipe on the side of it, does it?
that's right.
So there has to be some secret sauce that you keep behind closed doors, and any good business person should understand that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a great analogy.
Thank you for giving us some of that knowledge. And once again, I want to say that, you're a vital part of the community. We appreciate what you do, and that's why I wanted to bring you on today. So now to get a little more away from OCM and get to the serious stuff, I want to know more about your poker career.
Yes. So let's see. So I started, and this will probably like date me somewhat, but I started playing poker. Let's see, kind of in the mid 2000s, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't make a career out of it or anything. I was more of just like a recreational player,
Yeah, I say I'm
kind of in
like
the
a
poker booth.
practicing hobbyist is the term I use when everybody asks me about it. But
Yeah, I mean that was around the time that there was the big poker boom. That I
yeah,
mean,
before
everybody
Black
kind of
Friday
knows
and
about
everything shut down. Yeah,
it. Exactly, right. Like when you would turn on ESPN at like 2 a.m. or and you would just see like poker
random
at
World
like all the
Series
time.
from 2 years ago or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I got interested in poker then, and I was doing online poker. But yeah, then like you mentioned, so you're aware of like the Black Friday
Yeah,
event where poker basically just like in one day got banned.
evaporated in the U.S. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean that pretty much after that point, I didn't play poker that much anymore, other than games with my friends and stuff
Mm.
like that. because you just really couldn't do it.
Yeah, that turned me into much more of a live player, whether it be tournament or cash or anything like that. I've only recently, with the new sites coming, have started playing online again, but it's very fractured to say the least.
it, exactly. Yeah. And I never really got super into live poker. It would be something where I would like we would take like a yearly trip to Vegas or
Hmm.
somewhere, and I would like go to the casino and play. But it's not like I was like
Yeah. Tournament
I
poker, especially, is such a time sink live. Like you can play, for example, last night I played 7 or 8 tournaments over an 8 hour period, whereas I could play half of a tournament live, maybe. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's hard to beat how it was back in the day with online poker and being
yeah.
able to just queue
I
up
I
for a
literally
ton of
planned a
tournaments at once.
yeah, I literally planned a family trip around going to a poker tournament. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess I didn't have any like I guess my biggest score was like a 5-figure cash or something in
that's
some
solid,
tournament
dude.
back in the day. Yeah, like I
Yeah.
was my specialty was like the big tournaments.
Yeah. Marathons, like deep stacks,
Yeah,
longer, shorter, or like slow marathon style ones. Yeah.
yeah, in lieu of like the
Tight is
cash
right.
because
Tight is right.
that's right. Yeah.
That's cool, man. And then do you still play actively anymore right now, or just mainly like for bananas for fun?
Just the poker club and like the occasional if I take a trip or somewhere like I said
Yeah.
if I go to Vegas
Right. Just sit
I'll
down, hang
play a
out for a
tournament or
while.
something. Yeah, I'm thinking about going down to the World Series this year. I've been looking at the event,
Hmm.
trying to figure out ones I might want to play in.
Okay.
I'm not like a
Well,
high roller or anything, so I'm,
yeah.
I'm trying to find like
I
World
have
Series of Poker has some pretty big events, but in
and I
recent
have
years they've
all
done
the
some lower
information
ones.
for not high roller events too, if you're interested. But there's plenty of like under $1,000 events for this actual bracelets too.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, you can
exactly.
just look at the schedule and stuff. But I mean, the Golden Nugget in downtown Vegas has a solid schedule at the same time. Venetian always has stuff going on. So like there's like, low, mid, upper always going on. So that's kind of nice too. So we can talk offline more about that. But that's very cool. I hope you do make it. If you do and you feel like looking me up, I will be out there for the whole month of June. So excited about
Nice.
that. Yeah.
Are you
And
playing in the World Series?
yeah, I'll be playing this. I usually go for about 2 weeks, just
Okay.
with starting a family and stuff like that. It hasn't made sense. The wife gave me permission this year. So we're doing it. I'm not going to argue with that. So we're going to go for at least the month of June. And I had a pretty good win a couple weekends ago. So I'm probably going to play the main event this year, but I'm
Oh
trying
wow.
not to get too ahead of myself. Like, yeah, I don't want to
Awesome.
like, yeah, if I have a bad June, I'm not. So like, I'm just, yeah, it's going to be, we'll see. But yeah,
Since
I feel like
around.
I'm playing good. I meet up with my buddies pretty regularly. We're like going over the hand spreadsheets and stuff a little bit on our own, and like, yeah, just trying to get tuned in. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, the main event is playing the main event is definitely something that's on
Yeah,
my
yeah.
bucket
There's
list.
there's
Probably like
great.
for any poker player, that's probably on their bucket list,
Oh, for
right?
sure, for sure. And there's also very good like satellites and things like that. You can get into there. I'm not sure if WSOP.com it works where you live, but if it does, they definitely have satellites going. I played in one last night in the state I live in. And so yeah, I mean there's options to get in cheaper too. And honestly, most people sell like a decent percent of their action that play it like regularly. So
Yeah, that's right. Right.
but for sure. All right. I feel like we could definitely keep talking poker for way too long. We should probably just do that offline. So, just to round things out, is there anything else you wanted to pass along to us or just say or just get out there?
I mean, the poker club, definitely check out the OCM Poker Club if you
Agreed.
haven't yet. We use Club GG app and we're so they just recently released sit and goes on Club GG and
Yeah.
I I'm working on a plan to make like a big like heads up tournament. Like that's the next like fun thing I want to do for the
Cool.
poker club.
Cool. Yeah. I kind of mentioned something about that, I think, a little while ago. So, yeah, I would love to help with that if you need any. But yeah, I think that that would be cool. And it's just tough to get everybody on their own time. So, like, if you could just have it be like heads up in those two people's schedule and you have to play by like a certain time or whatever. But yeah, that's nitty
Exactly.
gritty stuff that we
Yeah.
don't have to talk about now.
Exactly. And that's one of the great things about doing like a heads up setup. so you
Mhm.
can kind of attract people from other time zones.
Well, I have full faith that you'll figure it out because you seem to be the nitty gritty guy of the OCM community. Thank you for your time. Thanks for everything you do. And we know that you'll, continue to help out the community any way possible. And we appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate getting a chance to talk to you.
Cool. Well, that's going to wrap it up today. I'm sitting down with Josh with OCM Magazine. Thanks everybody for checking us out. Have a great one.